What's up, folks? I'm Lil Guillotine, and I'm here to talk to you about why we need to free folks from the prisons and the jails now. You feel me? So let's get into it. Prisons and jails are huge vectors for spreading of the COVID-19 virus. Folks are not able to practice social distancing when inside of jails, and people are not being given personal protective equipment as far as mask and glove at all. And in fact, when it comes to hand sanitizer, folks in the New York prison system were made and are being made to make hand sanitizer for 62 cents an hour, but yet they're not allowed to use the hand sanitizer because of the strict rules against folks using alcohol products in the prisons in New York, which is very hypocritical, right? And so because of the close quarters and the lack of social distancing that folks are able to do inside of prisons and jails, having people in the prisons and jails ends up enabling the COVID-19 virus to spread rapidly, faster than it would without folks being locked up. And all this while they're sending folks inside and then outside the jails ends up spreading the virus that was able to spread rapidly inside of the jails and prisons to the broader community, posing a public health risk for everybody, not just the folks on the inside. And in fact, close to 100 folks have died so far inside of U.S. prisons and jails who are incarcerated from coronavirus. It ends up being a cruel and unusual punishment for folks inside, which is protected against in the 8th Amendment of the Constitution, which is supposed to protect people from cruel and unusual punishment by the government, which is exactly what keeping people inside of prisons and jails during a pandemic is. All this while we understand that keeping people in prisons and jails actually does very little, if nothing, to decrease crime and violence in society. And in fact, there's evidence that it does exactly the opposite. It increases crime and violence in society. So that is why we say free them all, and do it now. Thousands of people inside of U.S. prisons and jails have tested positive for COVID-19, and like I mentioned before, 100 people have died from it so far. And that's not even to put a number on the people who have been exposed to the virus due to keeping people in prisons and sending people in and out. The numbers could be so large we'd have no idea. We have learned inside the Dane County Jail here in Madison, Wisconsin, that more than 15 people have tested positive, although they've tried to keep quiet the actual number and have suppressed the numbers. A common way that jails and prisons are reacting to folks showing symptoms and testing positive for COVID-19 is that they're locking people up in solitary confinement, a practice which is all too often used in the United States, even though it's been deemed as torture and a human rights abuse by the UN and other international agencies. And of course, more and more data is surfacing showing that black people, indigenous people, and people of color are dying at higher rates than other folks of COVID-19 in society because of the baked-in systemic racism in the institutions in society and in the culture of society. So freeing people from prisons and jails ends up being the anti-racist thing to do. And we understand jails and prisons, like I mentioned earlier, don't actually prevent crime or violence in society, and we understand that the white supremacist patriarchal capitalist system needs prisons and jails in order to be able to maintain the racist status quo by granting people who identify as white with wages of whiteness. And so we say, free them all. And we are not shouting into a vacuum because, of course, there's record of governments across the globe and in the United States recognizing the public health risk that keeping people in prisons and jails poses right now. Over 100,000 prisoners were released in Iran. Turkey is releasing 90,000 prisoners. Ethiopia released over 4,000. Indonesia, 18,000. India released over 3,000 folks. Morocco, 5,000. The United Kingdom released 4,000 folks so far. And California is releasing 3,500 people, as well as Ohio. The governor there and some judges there as well are working on releasing folks. And the governor of Washington State has commuted 293 incarcerated people already. And so we seek to hold the elected officials responsible and put their feet to the fire when it comes to freeing people from prisons and jails for the health of the folks inside and for the health of the broader community because of the public health risk that it poses. In Dane County and Madison, Wisconsin, we've identified several vectors through which we can free people. Of course, there are governors who have clemency power to free people from prisons and jails, the county supervisors who make rules and laws governing the jails are able to make some changes. There are judges who are able to turn money bail into signature bonds and get folks released right away. The Department of Corrections in Wisconsin is holding many people on a parole hold in jails, and they are able, with the flick of a wrist essentially, to free untold people. The sheriff is able to free people on ankle bracelets and electronic monitoring. Not an ideal situation, but definitely better than the death sentence that they're giving people right now by keeping them inside during a pandemic. Another vector is that we're raising funds to free people from jail via the Free the 350 Bail Fund, and of course there are other bail and bond funds across the country doing the same. We would like to see the judges turn these bails into signature bonds right away, but until they do, we're exercising this avenue. You can donate to Free the 350 Bail Fund via Venmo at Liam-Manjon, that is at Liam-Manjon, or via Cash App at Free the 350 Bail Fund, or via PayPal at freethe350bailfund@gmail.com. We hope that you will join us in the decarceration movement during this pandemic to protect the health of folks in the broader community and to fight back against the white supremacist, patriarchal, capitalist tool of racist oppression. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to my channel. Let me hear in the comments if you agree, if you disagree, or if you have any questions. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Solidarity.